Hey guys, how's it going? Muthurajah here, back with a new video lesson for you all. Excuse my voice, I have a bit of a cold. I don't have COVID, thankfully. So, as promised, I posted a video on YouTube Shorts, which is basically the Instagram of YouTube, I suppose. 1 minute long video of me playing this bass line with my good friend and frequent collaborator Samuel Gasparian. And I had the great pleasure of working with some of Armenia's finest musicians, including Artyom Manukyan, amazing cellist. You might have seen videos of him playing with Hadrian and those kind of guys. So it was a really good gig. And needless to say, one of the challenges that I enjoy with playing Samuel's music is that a lot of times his bass lines are so unconventional. Primarily because he's coming from the angle of keys. Now on the keys, you can pretty much write bass lines with really wide intervals or strange rhythmic groupings because your hands, you have 10 fingers to work with. You can really do a lot. When you try to translate that to the bass guitar, it can be quite funny. So we were working on this song. I believe it's called Self-Determination. It just has two parts primarily. The first part is in G. Oops. And then the second part of the song towards the end does the same thing in D. So it's a static bass line, but there's harmony that's moving on top of it. And then in the middle is a section where the sax player takes a solo. Now on the reference track I was given, I did hear this synth line, but I was thinking, I probably am just going to have to play. Right? Groupings of 5. I've talked about groupings in the past. Also, before I forget, the Dropbox link for this particular PDF of this bass line is in the description below and the first pinned comment, so check it out. Groupings of 5 is where you're playing in the 16th note grid in this particular context, and you're accenting every 5 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now to give you context with the click, I should have better prepared. So I have my click at 100 BPM 4/4. So every 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so in the PDF you'll notice it's a 4-bar phrase. Okay, and on bar 4, beat 4 is a resolution point where it's basically doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when it reaches beat 4 of bar 4, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 as a loop to turn around to play this complete cycle. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the fundamental rhythm underneath. Okay, so this is like a 5 against a 4, kind of polyrhythmic, kind of metric modulation, but it all depends on the overall context. In this situation, we are just playing groupings of 5 notes in 16th notes against a 4/4, so it gives you this very overlapping feel. Okay, now the main difference here is that groupings of 5, but we are playing 4 notes, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 5th is silent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So it's basically just G, 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 B flat, D flat, E flat, G, 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 B flat, D flat, E flat, and F to turn things around. Okay? But the cool thing here is the rhythmic overlap that happens. So I'm going to play the bass line at about 90 BPM. I'm playing 3 notes to resolve it on the F, beat 4 of bar 4, 4. Oops. I must mention, when Samuel first initially showed me this bass line, that F on beat 4 of bar 4 is supposed to be do-do-da-da. But when I was playing it, I wasn't consistent enough. I wasn't happy. And it was already a painful task, which is what I want to break down. So I decided to just do 3 notes instead of 4 for that resolution point. Okay, if nothing's really making sense, I really encourage you to have the PDF open while you're watching this video. All right, so now technique. So I'm playing low, low, high, low. Now that's very awkward to play traditional, because if I did for me, it's awkward because I keep mixing up which finger I use to skip the string and how do I come back down. I have a tendency to go. See, it's so awkward, but then if I was to do double notes everywhere, like a disco thing. So I resorted to using my thumb and these 3 fingers, technically speaking, but I ended up using just thumb, index, and middle. So what I'm trying to do is get used to that first, okay? Thumb, index, thumb. And then I started to realize, wait, I need to play 4 notes. 2 low, 1 high, 1 low. So thumb and index play the low notes. Middle plays the high note. Okay? Now, if I was to play continuous 16th notes along these lines, it'll be hard. But in this particular context, because of the groupings and that little 16th note space I have, this is perfect. So now, once you have that down, the main challenge is playing it in time and playing the right notes. You would notice in the video, I tend to play the G on the B string here. Man, I love having a 5 string now. And then the B flat and D flat I played here, and then E flat I played on these top 2 strings. And the F at the end. So when I said technique is born out of necessity, this is what I mean. So a lot of times, a lot of my students, a lot of you on the channel even ask me, what's the point of learning a lot of these things that I teach? Harmony and technique stuff, getting your thumb in there and getting used to, doing all kinds of weird things. Now, I sit and practice this a lot, right? I've barely used it. I've probably used it 5 times so far. I tend to use as an effect rhythmically. However, I never looked at learning something for the sake of being able to use it. I learned something to be knowledgeable, to have all these things in my arsenal, so that when I'm presented with situations like this, when I was playing with Samvo, I can deliver to my best ability Of course, I had to tweak a few things like that last, just for the sake of consistency. But I'm sure if I had enough time, I would have gotten it down. Why? Because I've put in the work with my technique, my sound, my tone, and touch, and effects, and this and that. So never negate studying anything just because you don't have a place to apply it just yet. Because if everyone was to function on those bases, nobody should go to school. How many of us are actually doing science? I'm sure there's a certain number of people. How many of us are doing computer science? I hated biology, but I had to study it. But thanks to biology, I understand how my body functions to a certain degree at least. So everything has its place. Everything has its perks. All right. So again, nice and slow. Okay. Now in context with the click at a fairly slow tempo, so about 100. Now let me speed that up. I can't remember, around there. The 4 at the end is hard. Makes a sloppy entry into the G if I do the 4. Whew, man. I don't know how I kept that bass line going. I believe 2.5 to 3 minutes. Anyway, that's the breakdown of that particular bass line, and that's a Facebook notification. With that, this lesson is done. I hope you get something out of this, and I will see you guys in the shed on the next one. Take care and be safe and stay hydrated, people. Peace.